Wow, what a blast out at the range today. Well, actually not today. That's not true. What you just watched was about a week ago actually, and I'm sitting at my kitchen table now, but either way, it was a blast to shoot. The CZ P10 C, this is the optic ready and the suppressor ready model with the steel raised sights or suppressor height sights. And as you guys know, if you've watched the channel very often, I'm a huge fan. In fact, CZ is my absolute favorite brand by a lot. Nothing even really close except maybe H&K. I love CZ pistols. I always have. Very first CZ pistol I ever purchased was a P07. It was a duty model, a military overrun from the Mexican Department of something or another. I don't really know. Second one I ever bought was a CZ 75. SP01, and since then I've purchased about 15. Now I will say that when the P series came out, the P10 specifically, now the P09 to P07, you know, I kind of would say that I'd cut my teeth, I guess, because I bought the P07 and I didn't really shoot it all that much, and then I bought a couple of their steel models, and that's real, or their metal, all metal models, and that's really when I just absolutely fell in love with the CZ. And then I came back around, bought the P09, and I did like the P09 and the P07 simply because even though the lower was polymer, it felt like the original 75 SP01. It felt like the original metal models. It had the low bore axis, the real thin slide. Everything was almost identical except for the lower was polymer. And you know, I didn't really take to it very well at first. You know, like, why are they switching over to all these polymer frames? I don't know how that's going to bode for them. They're famous for their steel, you know, CZ 75 guns. But when they came out with the P10 series, you know, I was like, you know, I'm not buying one of those. I'm just, no, I don't like how it looks. It kind of looks gawky looking. I'm just not a fan. Nah, I'm not interested. You know, they widened up the slide. I'm sure that's caused people, little pansies, cried about the slide being thin and them not being able to manipulate it and slipping off of the hands and all this other pansy stuff. I'm just joking, but I just didn't really take to the P10 series, and then I messed around and bought a P10 S. It was optic ready. I put a vortex on there and it shot great. I mean, it performed, never gave a problem, no malfunctions, accurate enough, but super snappy. It was small, but it was super snappy. And I just found myself just not really carrying it. I don't know. I can't really explain why. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I'm sure that happens with everyone. Then I got the P10 M. You know, it didn't have the slide lock, slick, non-snag, if you will. And that was just weird. I kept it for a little while, sold it to a friend of mine. Again, great gun, shot great, accurate, no problems with it whatsoever. CZ and H&K is the only two brands left in my safe that I've never had an issue with whatsoever, not one single issue. And so then I just kind of, again, just got away, started buying shadows again. I bought a P01, just started buying the steel frame ones again. And then recently, within the past 2 months or so, I purchased, I didn't know that CZ, because again, I just didn't keep up with the P series, the P10 series, I just didn't really care, honestly. So I didn't know that they had came out with an optic ready P10 F, and I seen one that already had the Hollison SCS on there, already mounted from, I assume from the factory, just the way I bought it. Is one that's made specifically for it, had the little serrations or the little markings on the side of the optic that, you know, blended in with the slide of the gun. And I was like, you know what, that's pretty nice looking. And so I messed around and picked it up because there's a lot of value for about $600. I believe it came with 3 mags, already had the optic mounted on there. And I said, you know, there's just a lot of value in this gun. Took it out to the range. And besides my CZ Shadow optic ready, the Urban Gray, and the other CZ Shadow models that I have, besides those, I can't remember the last time that I've shot not just accurately, but really fast and accurate at the same time. just immediately fell in love with the P10 F with the Hollison on there. And so I started kind of looking into them again, and I noticed that the prices on them had really declined. And you know, I still don't know why, but I'm like, that's just a huge value for that price. So I seen the P10 C optic ready threaded barrel suppressor height sights somewhere around $500. You can even get out the door around the $500 mark. And I'm like, again, just great value. I'm gonna go pick this thing up. Now, with having shot it, we shot it at the indoor range, we shot it outside. I've had a buddy of mine shoot it. Trey shot the gun, my wife shot the gun, pretty sure we all shot the gun. I was just passing it around, and everyone liked it. No one really had anything negative to say about it. It functioned suppressed, had no issues whatsoever with it in any way that we tried or attempted to use it. Now I will say that I would like to put an optic on here, but I want to put the one made by Hollison for it, and it's out of stock literally everywhere. So I have about 4 or 5. Let me know when you have it back in stocks out there, and hopefully someone will email me and I can get me one. But either way, it's not as snappy, of course, as the P10S, but it is snappy. It is more snappy than what you would expect. I mean, again, it's about the same size as a Glock 19, and I don't know if the one that is not optic ready and is not suppressor ready, if it has the +2 floor plate on here. I'm just not sure. I assume it does, but I don't know. But this one does. It comes with 2 of them. So the witness window says 15, but it will easily hold 17 rounds. So you have 17 plus 1, which is a couple more than what your Glock 19 is. So with all of that, you know, I guess you would have expected it to handle the recoil much like, I guess, a Glock 19, and it was definitely more snappy than a Glock 19. And I remember that's kind of why I think I turned my nose up at the P10S. I couldn't really get rid of it. I liked CZ. It functioned fine. It was great. It was accurate. All of those things, just as this one was. But it just was surprisingly snappy. You know, the P10 F was not, of course. It's a huge freaking gun. But either way, I have been carrying this around a little bit in my truck. It feels phenomenal in the hand, especially with, I mean, even without the magazine in place, but with the magazine in place, even more so. It gives you that little protrusion out there at the bottom that really, really makes it fit the hand great. The stippling on the front is needle-like, like on most all, if not all, the P10 series. And it's less aggressive on the sides. I like the extra aggression on the rear, but I'm not a fan of that needle aggression on the front. I don't like smooth fronts, but that is a little bit excessive in my opinion. I'm sure there are those that would not agree. The mag well is not flared. It does have these little half moons here to be able to rip your magazine away easier should it get stuck up in there. But with it having the extended floor plate, I don't think that's going to be a problem. But it is there, has the same stippling all the way around. Does have a semi sort of almost flush mag release here, but it can be manipulated easily without adjusting my grip. So that is good. You know I'm a snob about that. And it is swappable for the lefties. Old Trey, it does take down just like the other ones do, just like a Glock. Really not much, if any difference at all. Does have the nice squared off trigger guard as you're accustomed to on these, with a little ledge at the bottom and serrated on the front. If you do stick your index finger out there when you are shooting, that is there for you. If you're shooting with gloves, no issues whatsoever. Being able to get your finger in there. Does have the memory pads here on each side. I do like those. I like those on any gun. Does have a single slot rail up here for your light, laser. I had my X300 from Surefire on there. And I've also had, I believe, my Streamlight 7A or something like that, one of those. I also had it mounted on here, so that's on there for you. Nothing is ambi on it except for the slide lock here. Again, the optic ready model, it does not come with any plates or anything, so if you don't want to mount the Holosun SCS, that is flush mount for this thing, then you'll have to buy a plate. You will have to purchase a plate. It does come with a luminescent suppressor height steel sights on here, and with a very nice ledge here. Like, man, you could rack that on a piece of notebook paper. I mean, that is a nice, very defined, large ledge on that rear sight for you to rack it off of something. Should you need or find yourself in a place of needing to do that, does have these slightly canted, very deep, very functional front and rear slide serrations, as you again are accustomed to on all of the P10 models. Very functional, very easily able to use them. Now, with that being said, I would like to think that the one that is suppressor ready would have a heavier spring. The spring in this is a little bit heavy. That could, you know, account for some of the snappiness, maybe, I don't know. I know that when we were shooting it suppressed, it was way less snappy, so that could have something to do with it. So for you haters out there that want to call me a sissy or whatever else you want to call me, because they do it all the time, maybe on the non-suppressor ready models the spring is not as tight. It's not as tightly sprung, if you will. Maybe it handles the recoil a little better. Again, I don't know. I haven't shot either one of those, so I just don't know. All I can tell you is about this one, and the guy that works at the range that shoots guns probably every day said the same thing, that it was surprisingly snappy. But again, handled the recoil very well with the suppressor on there. Again, no malfunctions whatsoever. And the trigger, well, you know, everybody wants to talk about the trigger. Well, let's talk about it for a minute. It does have the center blade safety. It does come all the way to the bottom of the trigger, so you don't have any problems with that. It, you know, there's a little bit of grit in the trigger. I mean, you know, it's not a, I don't know, it's definitely not a shadow trigger. You know, it's not a 1911 trigger. There's a huge amount of take up before it breaks at 90 degrees. And the reset is not bad. The reset is, it is tactile. You can feel it pushing back on your finger. It's not the most audible reset ever, but you can hear it. But what I look for in a loud environment, what I feel for, should I say, is that feeling of it pushing back on your finger so that you know it has reset. But you know, it's a trigger. You're not writing home about it. You know, if you want a better trigger, I don't know if there's a drop-in for it. I'm sure there is. The trigger is serrated on the front, has nice surface area, so there's no problem. Your finger slipping off, it doesn't get pinched at the bottom of the trigger guard like some triggers do for me, if you've watched the channel. So I like that. And you also know that I'm not a trigger snob at all. You know, if it's not super gritty, or if it's not a 15-pound trigger, I'm not complaining about it. I'm going to get used to it. It is a trigger. It's not great, but it also is not terrible. Reset is okay, just okay. After it resets and you get that second pull, there is a little bit of take up there. It hits a wall, and I'd say it breaks on the wall. You know, there's no rolling break. huge amount of take up, a little bit of grit, hits the wall and breaks on the wall. It's a predictable break, let's put it like that. Again, nothing to write home to mom and pops about. And we do have the metal guide rod here. Way to go, Walther and the PDP. Can't pull that off. Oh man, I'm gonna stir up some stuff now. Ooh. Anyway, what came in the box? Well, it came with gold latches, I can tell you that much. Let's see what we got here. Try to keep everything in the view. People tell me, turn that thing around, I can't see it. Anyway, you got 3 back straps. The small came on it. You have a large and a medium. It's indicated as much down here towards the bottom of the back strap. Again, it does come with 2 metal 17 round mags. Again, I'm not sure if the other models have the flush floor plates. It did not come with any other floor plates unless they're hiding somewhere in here and I don't see them. It does come with your cleaning brush and your ramrod. Did come with a weird looking black snap cap, and it came with an Allen key which will remove your optic plate, and one that also will remove the Allen for your front sight should you want to take it off and replace it for some reason. That's pretty cool, I guess. So that's what's in the box. You got your lock, you got your owner's manual, and it's a CZ box. It's got the gold latches on there. And so everybody wants to know about the specs all the time. You know, I don't suppose it's like it's nothing you can't find on any website, but again, it is suppressor ready. Let's see what we got here. Keeps wanting to switch on me, and I gotta try to read this bad boy off. Let's see what we got here. Well, this one's 15. We don't want to look at the low capacity one here. We want to look at the, nope, not that one. Suppressor ready. Here we go. 17+1 fiber reinforced polymer. Triggers, striker fired, of course. High metal night sights as mentioned. It's not really night sights, it's the luminescent sights. I would say they got that wrong. I do like the luminescent sights coming out of a dark room. I'm sorry, a light area into a dark area. Let's see if I can make these things glow up here. And I hope this shows up on the camera. So you see how green those things got? They got super green. So before they were just white. But anyway, they're luminescent. These are not night sights. If they have not absorbed any light, they do not glow at night. Yeah, so anyway, but it does say that on the website. Maybe I need to call them and tell them why didn't I get my night sights, but it's not a night sights. Cold hammer forged barrel. The barrel length is a 4.16, and the overall weight is 26 ounces. Overall length is a 8-inch. Firing pin, block safety, and the trigger safety. I don't know. Again, anything that we didn't say, you want to ask, you don't want to look it up, ask us. We'll always answer. We always do. We love interacting with you guys. Go over, check out our website, gsquaredtactical.com. We say that, nobody ever goes over and checks it out. We only had one person to buy something. We really would like your support. Buy a hat, buy a shirt, buy a cup holder, a coaster, buy something. Help us out a little bit. Support the channel. If you like what you see, hit the thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe. Tell all your friends and family where they can find the best blue collar YouTube gun reviews. And we hope that you guys will be blessed. And again, thanks so much for watching today.